Alright, so I have 3 drums right here. Pretty cool. And I thought I would kind of run them through different drums, plug-in, kind of a digital external gear, and then eventually some sort of analog. This is the kind of the first drum, kind of a typical hip-hop beat. And the second one is kind of a more, I guess, something that you would hear often, I guess. And then the last one is kind of a housey, kind of a broken housey drum loop. So I'll run the first one through Logic's Distortion 2. I think that's the easily accessible free distortion plugin. And it's kind of a relatively simple to use, so yes. With this drum, the kick is the really puncher, and then the rest are just kind of sprinkles here and there. So I'm kind of expecting the distortion to kind of put a little bit more oomph to the kick. See, that's the basic default preset, but still sounds a little bland. Yeah, it's kind of really emphasized on that kick. And let's test the different settings. And of course, this is to kind of be adjusted and how you kind of feel about it, but I don't necessarily want too much distortion. Yeah, something like this I think will be good. Less drive and a little bit more pre-gains. On this one, the kick is very punchy. Now let's listen to the other drums without the distortion. It's a very kind of mild, I guess, because the kick is a little bit round, I think. The snare is kind of very in the back. And the snare kind of, even if you look at the waveform, the snare is kind of taking center stage. If I activate the distortion, you gotta hear it's kind of getting a little bit crispier, I think, with the snare and also the hi-hat. Kind of the hi-hat becomes instead of like kind of. Does that make sense? Let's tweak some stuff. So yes, and also since I'm in Logic, I can adjust different EQs, kind of add more things. But so far for distortion, I think it adds a little bit of, I mean, it makes the drums a lot better. By the way, these are drums that are made on the SP404, so there is also that. Now let's take a look at this house drum. The snare is there. The kick is kind of in the back. I think in these two, kind of the snare is the main thing. There is percussions in the back that kind of adds a little bit into the low end. And of course the hi-hat kind of fills the other side of the EQ. Now with distortion, I'm kind of feeling that this is going to be a little bit complicated because there is the loop on the percussion has like a strange low end. So I don't know how the distortion will handle this. Let's tweak some stuff because I don't like that. Yeah, I think on this one the distortion will be a little bit softer. All right, so that's that. Let's try some analog distortion. Have my little analog mixer, the Boss BX400 and the SP404, and then let's see. It will go through and then into my audio interface. So let's see if it's audible. Same house drum. Now on this mixer, I have the master volume at to the max, and then I'm just going to adjust the device volume because I think I prefer adjusting the device volume instead of the master. So yes. So if I crank this, I don't like listening to this too much because it kind of tricks the ears when you kind of have it at very max volume for a long period of time. But now, just for fun, but I think somewhere here is a good place. Kind of like 11 o'clock something. So yes, there is that. That's the analog kind of distortion. And let's see on the other ones. So this is the the first drum. Same thing. The kick on this is See, now I don't like it when it was at like a good position, I think, earlier. And of course, this is kind of just a taste, but I think somewhere here also kind of 11 o'clock something. Now, what I noticed is that the distortion on this device in particular, or I mean, I don't have any other things, but the distortion on this is kind of also had some sort of like compression. I think the distortion, the plugin has, but I'm not sure I can hear it very much. But on this, there is like a limit in kind of, because I guess it's analog, that's why. Also, something really cool that I don't think I got from like the plugin distortion is the hi-hat. Like the hi-hat, I don't know, there is like a crispy thing on the hi-hat. It's kind of exaggerated, so it's more audible. Yes, that thing, man. Let's get on to the other drum. So this is the other drum. Kind of cool. The kick is very round again. I think on this one I like it without any distortion. Like I kind of like it, but let's see. Let my ears kind of refresh a bit. So yes, kind of mild distortion. I think the 11 o'clock thing is the best on all counts. Maybe it's just me, but I have a little bias towards the analog distortion because it's I don't know how to describe it, but there is like that kind of limiter-ish somewhere. And then the characteristic that it gives, like there is like a weird crispy thing. As opposed to like these distortion, which are good, but kind of prefer the plugin distortion rather than this. Maybe I can lower it a little bit, somewhere like this. But still, I think this one sounds better. So a little comparison right here. I have the Korg KP3. I wanted to try some some digital distortion. So let's see. There is already kind of the distortion by the input, but still we kind of add everything on top. Let's see. That is kind of a lot. And then if I add it, kind of adjust the effects a little bit, kind of the effects strength or the wetness. So yes, distortion, man. You should add distortion to your drums. Adds a little bit more characters, adds a lot of things to the drums. And not just the drums, I mean on everything. Not everything, but on the master, on everything. Just add distortion on everything. But there are other distortion that I wanted to kind of check. I think the SP404 has distortion as well. Have plugins like preamps that also kind of adds distortion. Other devices add distortion. I think the analog mixer has distortion, but also have distortion on my kind of main mixer. That would have been like double the distortion type of a thing. But yes, all type of distortion there is distortion also on my FX pedal, but I this kind of put everything together. Plug-in distortion, analog distortion, and then kind of a digital kind of mix between the two. So yes, that's all that I wanted to talk about. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.